Welcome to another review here at Big Gold Belt Media. Another episode, I believe 5. Are we on 6 or 5? I forget. Of Gen V. And that's the funny thing is, like, I know Nadia asked off air, like, hey, what episode is this? And I'm over here like, I think it's 5. But no, another interesting episode of Gen V, brought to you by Amazon Prime Video here at Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbeltmedia.com. You got me, Damon G. You got down there in the rectangle, you got Gotham Geek Girl Nadia, and Cam's collection up to my side right there. Before we get into the show, a big congratulations goes out to Nadia. We are so proud of you regarding your success with being on Nat Geo and being able to come down to my neck of the woods. And I think it's something about JFK, if you want to give the audience a little bit more on that.
Yeah, so it's going to be releasing next month. It's called One Day in America, and it's about like the JFK assassination, but it's not like glamorizing it or anything like that. It's a little bit more about like detailed on exactly every little detail that went on that day. So on this press tour, I got to visit like locations, like the hotel he was staying at, where the building he was actually shot from is a museum now. The jail cell where Oswald was held. So many really like key locations. So it was really cool. So stay tuned for that.
It's so weird. We think we know things about history based on what we've been told in school. And then when you actually have to go through like what you went through to see it and experience it, it's a totally different, thought process and just like, oh shit, like a mind fuck almost. But yeah, congratulations. Honestly, you deserve it. You bust your ass. You work hard. You deserve that. All right, let me wipe that on my hair. Okay, we're good. I promise. So, episode 6. Holy shit. If you ever wanted to know what it's like to be trapped in the mind of an empath, this was the episode for you. Episode 6. They used the word cunt in the first 10 minutes of the episode, which I screamed out, "Oh shit! Okay, we're going there already." But everybody got pulled into Cate's dream, or subconscious. So y'all know me, I was like, ooh, we're going into the mind of this episode. This is great. And what winds up happening is that everybody has their own story pulled back layer by layer within the subconscious. We get everybody's kind of like red flag situation that pretty much binds everybody together, which we'll get into. But we also get an appearance by one soldier boy. I knew he was popping up eventually. I did not know he would pop up in this episode, specifically as an imaginary friend to the nth degree of Cate. So before we get into it, like in depth, before I go on, Cam, first thoughts on, let's say, the first 10 minutes of the show.
There was a lot of details into the show, right? I feel like it gave us a lot of more insight and a lot more little tidbits or backstories that we missed, right? Where the memories were blanked out, or what different people's roles were in actuality in this one. And I think it was a great episode to actually just give us more information on these characters' background and more depth to them. Very exciting to see Soldier Boy back in this episode. Very short-lived, as you'll say. But it was cool. I love how they keep on just connecting the dots to the boys, with like little Maeve posters in the background. Everybody's room, of course, has like Dawn of the Seven posters as well, and little references here and there to connect the pieces to each other. And I think it's cool. It was a great episode for sure, though.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think this episode kind of like really revealed a lot about each character. It kind of like, I guess, touched upon some things we knew, or like exposed things we didn't know. We'll get into a little bit more later, but like how Jordan already knew that Golden Boy has attacked Brink more than once. So that kind of like builds up a lot of like, why hasn't she said anything? They stopped them before. So it's a lot. I think it was a pretty good episode. Most of it was pretty much like in Cate's like mind or subconscious, and they had to kind of like escape it and like all work together in a sense. So yeah, I thought this was a pretty good episode, and it kind of, I guess, finally escalated what we've been talking about with the Dean and like, I guess the like the main antagonist this series. So
right, because last episode we talked about it. We were like, I wonder who the big bad really is, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's just Dean Shetty just trying to just get hers as it is to progress through the company of Vought. Another thing I liked about this episode, it wasn't Maurice specific. It's as if everybody had their own little spotlight to shine. Like I said earlier, just having a red flag checkered past, as it were. Everybody has a situation, you know, Cate being pretty much just taken advantage of by Dean Shetty, which is probably her superpower, is her power of manipulation, because these are impressionable teenagers, or at least we're led to believe they're impressionable. They just happen to be superheroes. You know, we even see her manipulating, you know, in the woods, you know, where they're doing the experiments, and we find out that they're trying to create a virus to suppress or control supes, and she has no recompense of just hurting anybody that stands in her way or in her goal. So I don't know if they're gonna go with another big bad in the direction we're heading in, but she's bad enough for me that I'm just like, multiple times in my notes, I'm like, oh, fuck her, can't stand her ass. Like, this is what happens in corporate America, kids. She is the quintessential corporate America villain. If you think Darren Cross was bad in Ant-Man, she ain't got nothing on her, in my opinion. But overall, just we saw some tidbits from Cate, her mind, Marie's mind, you know, Jordan's mind. Everybody had their own little 15 minutes of fame in terms of what was going on in the mind. And one of the first things we saw was also we have an appearance by Golden Boy also in this episode, in the flashback, where these are memories that are interactive. It's not as if, you know, you're going to experience them as a third party and they don't see you, or you know, there's no going back and forth. But the team is inside the subconscious, interacting with Cate's mind. And for me personally, I'm over here just like, oh, that would trip me up if like someone's really trying to work in their mind and having an argument with me. So let's take that part. The overall being in someone's mind and having their mind kind of just attack you in a way. Like, where are we standing on that, Nadia?
I think it opened up a little more maybe compassion for Cate. I think
Only
we kind of understand like her story, how she was also manipulated.
Right.
And then like she was clearly like stuck in her bedroom for like 9 years, like as a prisoner. Like, so that was kind of wild. Like her mother was like scared of her. And I guess like her whole life, she was probably blaming herself for her brother going missing and like not really being able to understand her powers. She was just like a prisoner in her own home. And then here comes Dean Shetty acting like she's like she cares about her. And she comes with this whole thing, like she gives her the pills and she's like, oh, I can help you. And for Cate, that's probably like, oh, like I can be like a normal like teenager now. Like I can go to school and make friends. And like, she probably didn't really see it as like being manipulated. Like, I think she really did think she was helping Luke by like suppressing his memories of his brother. And like, she probably saw him in pain. Like they had her there in the lab. So she probably saw Luke in pain and thought she was doing him a favor by like hiding his memories. So I don't know. I think the episode did a really good job of breaking down each character's kind of like, I guess, regrets. Because they also showed like I mentioned before, like Jordan, when she was in the room with Brink and Golden Boy, that she didn't stop them. And he promised her like, oh, I'll make you my, what is it called? AP, PT,
TA, teacher's
assistant.
Yeah,
he's like, I'll make you a TA. So for her, that's like, oh, this is my way to grow in this school. This is my way to get attention, my way to get ahead. She probably didn't think it would ever escalate to Brink actually dying. So I think that was part of like their, I guess, inner troubles.
Inner torment.
And then, yeah. And then Andre, we saw that he loved Cate the whole time. They were hooking up beforehand. She wasn't manipulating him. He really loved her. So I think this is probably also like traumatic for Andre, because like he sees Luke in this fake memory and Luke is like, I know. So he's like going through like all these crazy things. Like he also felt betrayed by Cate, but it's just like he probably has his own inner guilt for everything that has happened. So it was a really good episode.
Cam?
Yeah. I mean, just to piggyback off of everything Nadia just said, inner torment seemed like the characteristic of this whole entire episode, and just bringing to light all of the secrets and the things that that the main characters really didn't surface through the first 5 episodes seem like they're just floating to the surface right now. The main story seemed like not only inner torment, but also manipulation through higher adults that they felt like were supposedly, you know, their mentors or the people that they looked up to, just took advantage of them 100%. And it just seems like they were sworn into secrecy until, you know, everything hit the fan at the end though. But like she said, it was still a great episode though. I feel like they hit the nail on the head with a lot of different details that they added into it though as well.
Yeah, and the overall arcing of adults taking advantage of children, you know, we have pretty much banged that drum the entire season of seeing how these adults are manipulating these kids because they have superpowers. And that's part of the reason they can be manipulated, is because they're trusting these older adults who supposedly have their shit together. And in reality, they're just being used as pawns and playthings in the overall story for, if not Vought, everybody else's personal interest. Sam lost his virginity. Let's just throw that out there before we get deeper than that. Because, like, you know, Sam and Emma finally consummated their whatever it is. And we find out it was Sam's first time. And kudos for them crazy kids. But at the same token, during the course of it, you see Sam's mind revert back to seeing puppets. And immediately I thought of Team America World Police. You know, that one scene where the puppets are having sex. And I'm like, oh, we're going here. Oh no, okay, so we've seen Sam kill puppets, you know, as a coping mechanism, at least I think so. And while he's having sex with Emma, there's a couple of moments where he views her as a puppet. Now, I'm still trying to figure out what's the trigger here. You know, is that how he makes it okay? Is that how he justifies it, by seeing persons as a puppet? So that's a weird thing for me trying to figure out still. Is that just a coping mechanism? Which I'm willing to gamble it is, but that was a weird scene. Again, I feel like Emma's coming into her own from when we saw her episode 1 of wanting to fit in, wanting connection for something other than being small. And she gets to be, in her own mind, a hero by helping Sam out, or at least it started that way. And now there's a natural connection between the two of them where Sam wants to protect her and she wants to protect him as well, which we see later in the episode when he tries to kill Cate because everybody has their memories back and he's like, I'm gonna kill this bitch. Which, you know, I thought she was gonna die. Like, fully, I thought he was gonna snap her neck even though Emma stepped in. But I want to take everybody through every member's little red flag sequence in the subconscious. Like we talked about, you know, Andre being in love with Cate this entire time, right? And that doesn't make it better. If anything, I feel like this makes it worse, the situation, because it's like you've always been in love with your best friend's girl, and then after he dies, they have sex, and you're thinking, oh, fuck this shit. It turns out it's something they both apparently wanted from the jump. So that was an interesting little tidbit. And then we have Jordan and the TA bit where they knew that Brink was doing shenanigans with Golden Boy, and just let it go because they want to be a TA so badly. They wanted to get on the good side. So, and then we have Marie, who, back to square one, how this series started, back to seeing the scene of the crime, as it were, and this figment of her sister, basically telling her she's not going to be anything else but a monster. So you all, thoughts on those dream sequences, those subconscious mind sequences? What did that do for you? Thought process?
I guess with Marie, I don't really think it brought anything new. I think that's kind of what she's already been struggling with.
Yeah.
But it could have been a moment of forgiveness for herself, because that's also how they escaped. Like, she reminded Cate, like, the whole thing with your brother, it's not your fault. Like, I guess she kind of felt a connection to Cate in a sense of, like, unfortunate circumstances, people they loved got hurt, but it wasn't their, like, they didn't plan on it. So I guess maybe that could have been a moment of closure for her. Maybe it opened more wounds, but I don't think it added much new to her trauma. But I think, yeah, it was maybe a moment for her to connect to Cate.
Okay.
Yeah, same. I think it was weird that, like, her sister's name was Annabelle. For some reason, I just never thought her name would have been Annabelle. It just kind of threw me off for a second. But I'm like, okay, cool, sure. But yeah, it just seemed like a crazy dynamic with everyone. It seemed like with Jordan, you know, his they or his other self was looking at him and was telling him he's a coward. You know what I'm saying? And saying that you'll never be anything but a coward. And like you said, I mean, Cate seemed to relate to a lot of the guilt and hurt and pain of losing her brother, alongside with Marie and a lot of other of the students that made wrong decisions that ended up to be where they are right now. So it felt like they're trying to regain, or at least it gives Jordan now, or a lot of the characters, a choice now to make the right decision to hopefully redeem their story, I feel like.
And that's even talked about in the show. They say, hey, if we go all in toward the end, you know, where they finally get out of the subconscious and they're in the real world, they're like, look, we're in deep now. So either we're in this together or we're not. And, you know, like a rallying cry, you know, we're all been through trauma together. We've been in each other's minds, you know, physically, mentally. Let's just get to the bottom of this. And, you know, in some weird Scooby-Doo kind of methodology, just fuck shit up for like the older people at God U, which I didn't put two and two together until they said God University. That just made me kind of laugh, because you have these superheroes going to God U. Trying to think. For me, the one subconscious part that was most relatable for me it was Cate. And as much as I hate her, you know, as a character, you know, you think you're doing the right thing by protecting your friends, or at least you think you're protecting your friends from harm, you know, where she put Golden Boy back under the spell when they realized there were some experiments going on between him and Luke. You know, she would be the one that would forget, oh, it's okay, it's not your fault. Like letting people know, hypnotic suggestion, it wasn't your fault that you killed your parents. Oh, it's okay, forget this. So in your mind, in her mind, she's thinking, I'm doing the right thing here by protecting my friends and family from trauma that they don't need. We've all done that. We've all thought we were trying to protect people by either telling a white lie or just straight up lying, thinking we're doing it for someone else's benefit. But in reality, Nadia, you're right. It's like Jordan saying you're a coward. It's kind of like the cowardly way out of just not allowing people to go through what they have to go through, you know, in life. And I thought that was very powerful. And I think even though we didn't get anything new with Marie in terms of her character development, I think going back to the beginning and seeing the scene, you know, what she saw when she killed everybody, you know, and even having that come to Jesus moment with her little sister in the subconscious, I thought was powerful. And they all had that, you know, those moments, you know, even Andre coming to their grips and realization that he wanted to be with Cate. Like he accepted the fact that, look, I loved her. It's different. And again, I feel like all these topics are relatable to everyone who's watching the show, because we've all been teenagers. We may not have superpowers, but we've all, you know, gone through those ups and downs of being a young adult or a teenager. And I found that to be so refreshing in a way where it didn't make it seem like it was fantasy, if you get what I'm saying, in terms of they just happen to have superpowers. These are kids first. They just happen to have superpowers, is how I'm choosing to look at it. And another thing that really stuck out to me, Soldier Boy, Jensen Ackles, welcome, my friend, as the imaginary friend of Cate's subconscious who helped her through womanhood. Basically is the easiest way I'm going to say it. That's a
nice way to say it. Yeah, that's a nice way to say it.
You know, helped her through puberty and womanhood and a lot of metaphors. And I thought it was a poignant scene as a point of reference in her subconscious, like he was going to be their guide. And then after, you know, Andre's like, fuck you, man, I can't stand your ass, you know, he's dead. He dies in the subconscious. I don't even remember who the other kid that died. I don't even know who that was. I forget who.
Where did he go?
Was he the one that doesn't age?
Yeah, he's the one that doesn't age. But like, what did he really?
He died.
Or
if he died, he's conscious. You dead.
We're just like, well, that's it. He wasn't on the floor or anything when we.
No, he got bing bong.
So I was like, dang. All right, well, that kid's gone.
Yep, like literally, he just exploded and dead in the subconscious. So it's like Nightmare on Elm Street. You die in the dream, you die for real. and we never saw him again. But yeah, I thought, what did you think of the cameo for Soldier Boy? Because that was funny for me.
That was not how I expected him to be in the episode.
No, yeah.
That was very odd, but it's very on point for the boys.
It's on brand, yeah.
On brand.
Yeah, it was really crazy because I mean, we only saw him in there for like a few seconds, and the next thing you know, he's poof, he just exploded, you know. So it was like, it was wild. I've never heard those many terms for what she did when she thought of Soldier Boy. There was a lot of them in there, and I was like, I've never heard about a canoe. Like, what is this? Like, what is
the
new?
canoe was new. Yeah.
I was like, I ain't never heard that. That's
I'm
wild.
guessing she still had a TV and magazines, like to still know who he was and connect. That was her connection to the outside world,
right?
In her own odd way.
And then as now we're talking about it, I'm realizing, oh wow, yeah, she was locked up for 9 years. So her connection to anything in the outside world, be it Soldier Boy or anything, she went through it alone with imaginary friends, you know, in her mind, and just what she thought the outside world may look like, for instance. I thought it reminded me of how Rogue in the X-Men comics kind of came to be, with her bio mom, you know, not trusting her because she can basically kill people by touching them. So it was a very tragic backstory. So Cate had a similar, you know, like every X-Men, my parents thought I was weird and they wanted to send me to this school to get help. And as much as I want to hate Cate, yes, she did have a tragic backstory. You know, it's assumed, I don't know if it was confirmed, that she killed her brother. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh shit, you killed your brother, mom hates you, cops are afraid of you, and then they lock you away for 9 years. How the fuck would you react? You know, if one person shows you some sort of empathy or kindness, you know, which Dean Shetty did with Marie earlier this season. So psychological manipulation is a hell of a thing. And I like the way the episode kind of just tied everything together of bringing the team even closer, you know, throughout all their traumatic experiences. I'm like, look, if you're going to trauma bond in a show, this is the exact way to trauma bond, you know, against a common enemy or against a common foe. And it's setting up the last few episodes. And I'm really curious now to see how this all ties up. The Luke Cate storyline, you know, just Sam and Emma, like, I don't know, like I have all these things written down. It's like I still have these loose ends that needs to be crossed off. And then we end the episode with, we got a virus that could kill the superheroes, which it was supposed to be just containment. You know, isn't that what most viruses are? Looking at you, Raccoon City, right. You know, it's supposed to be for, you know, containment. Then there's an outbreak and then everybody dies. So that's where we leave it at the end of the episode, where now Dean Shetty wants to know if the virus is contagious. So where do we see this going now?
I think with the doctor, I think he probably just saw it as like a way for control and a way, like, let's say if you have any more situations like Sam, a way that they can control the uncontrollable, and a way to, I guess, kind of not harm, but he probably saw it as a way to, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word I'm looking for. I guess like a way to like plan? No, like not tranquilize, but
like I was thinking like contingency
sedate.
Plan. I was thinking
sedate, like a way. I guess a way to
yeah.
kind of like sedate the supes and like control them in their own way. But the Dean Shetty, I think in her mind, something had to have happened tragically in her past, and I think this was her villain arc. Like maybe a sibling or her parents or a child was killed. I'm just coming up with a backstory in my head, but I think something like that so tragically happened, where this is like her plan. She's like, I'm going after the supes, and the best way she can is by being their friend, by being their role model, by being in this school, in this environment.
Right.
That's probably like her arc story. And now she's like, I have a way to kill them. So I think that's kind of her goal.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great I don't want to say hypothesis, like a great idea of, or a great guess of like what it could be. Because I mean, obviously something must have had happened to her to want her, or for her to want to harm these other, you know, type of species or people, you know, like something had to happen tragically in her life. I keep going back to the fact that Kate's brother disappeared in the woods, and I'm like, man, what if she got her powers and didn't understand and accidentally opened the door into her mind for her brother, and then her brother, like, boom, he's stuck in her brain. God, I forgot what the guy's called, just like Slade Wilson's son, that was in the Titans show or whatever. But just to get off topic, but yeah, I just feel like she's probably got to be one of the most deviant people on this show or series I've seen so far, because her intent from the beginning just seems malicious 100%. Yes. And like I said, or like you said, a tranquilizer. Now I'm starting to think like, man, this might be a contingency plan, you know, for like a kryptonite to take out any soup there is, you know, like Correct. The common colds can slip into anybody, you know.
Yeah, like so she's trying to eradicate the soups or something.
Right, 100%. So maybe that's why they're calling it Gen V, you know, because maybe that's the generation they're trying to take out, you know. So I don't know. But I think it is crazy, and I feel like they need to give us more of a backstory on the Dean, 100%. Maybe the next episode, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think that's where we might be going with it, because I'm making comparisons between her and William Stryker from the X-Men series. Like, she's Stryker, like she hates soups. I thought it was just a manipulation ploy for her to get to the top. No, this seems like an unabashed hatred of capes and soups. So I am really curious to see what the motivations are for her going forward, aside from just corporate greed and, you know, getting your name on a plaque. You know, there's got to be something else involved with this, where it's like, was it the Tower of Babel storyline from JLA, where Batman has all these contingency plans, and now she has her own, where she can just take out soups with a snap of a finger potentially. And this is a villain arc. I don't think we need a big bad. I think she is cunning enough to be the big bad of this show. And shame on me then for thinking, hey, we need another big bad. No, we don't. We have a manipulative human who hates superheroes. That's good enough for me to hate. But we mentioned self-forgiveness, you know, for Marie. I think that was an overarching, I want to say not arc, it was an overarching just vibe in the whole episode, that they're all forgiving each other, even though, you know, they had these traumatic experiences come to light, where either like Jordan knew, you know, like, oh, well, everybody knew that Andre was having sex with Cate and whatnot behind Golden Boy's back. So it's like, wait a minute. We have to forgive ourselves and each other. I know it sounds corny and very, you know, after school special to be like, we're friends now, but this is them uniting against the common foe, which is Dean Shetty. I'm curious to see in season 2, which, if I didn't mention at the beginning of the show, we have a season 2 coming up of Gen V, so they got approved for a second season. So now we don't have to worry about all this being tied together in a quick little bow at the end of the season. But for me, that's the overarching thing that brought the team together, being able to forgive each other and themselves. Any other little tidbits of life info you pulled from the episode?
I was just gonna say, one thing that I'm wondering is the dean didn't want the doctor to work on Marie.
Right.
So I'm wondering if she already had in mind, I need someone that's like disposable, just in case, like to test, I guess, whatever theories or whatever process she wants to go. But I'm still wondering what she wants Marie for. Like, why she wouldn't sacrifice her. Like, maybe she still wants to use her powers in some kind of way.
Yeah. Or maybe she can use her as leverage, since she is the one that's able to manipulate blood. Maybe there's a possibility of white blood cells in there that usually fight off like antiviruses. She'd be the cure. So she's like, all right, I can use this as leverage to get me higher if I got her under.
Or is it like, now I'm in like a whole spiral?
Now we're going into a whole thing.
I think it was Kingsman: The Golden Circle, the second one, I think it was, where blanking on her name right now, but where the villain released some kind of like disease thing, like through drugs.
Yeah.
And she released it herself so she could release her vaccine and cure.
Ah.
So I'm like wondering, could this be some kind of like weird thing where she's trying to release it, but trying to like fund the vaccine and then be like the hero?
Right, like that one guy during COVID that was price gouging medications and stuff like that. He was like charging like half $500,000 for cures and whatnot. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. She's in charge of the illness, and then oh my God, look what I have. I have this vaccine and this cure to make from maybe. Oh my God, see now we're going down the gosh darn rabbit hole.
I know.
Yeah.
Using Marie's blood as a cure, like Ellie from The Last of Us.
Yep.
Or the opposite way, she wants to use Marie to administer the virus through her bloodstream.
Oh, it could, yeah.
Because we see earlier in the episode, Marie was able to speed up the heart rate of Cate so she didn't die. So we already know she has access to people's vital organs or their bloodstream. So who's to say she wouldn't be the catalyst of the disease or the cure? So we don't know which way they're trying to maybe monetize or make her the fall guy. They might try to make Marie the fall, the patsy of this, and be like, no, it's her fault. She's the one that spread the disease. She had it. She was patient zero. Man, we just talked ourselves into a
I
shoot.
know.
I love this. I love this. But it's going to be a fun last few episodes. I kind of don't want them to tie up this arc yet. I don't know the comic arc, so I'm not going to spoil it for myself. I want to be able to like experience it, live and in watching in living color. But now I'm curious, which way is this going to go? Is Marie going to be the hero, and save the day with her bloodstream, or is somebody else going to be the cure? Who's going to make the dramatic heroic sacrifice at the end of the season where we think everyone's going to survive, but one person's probably going to die, so who's going to make the dramatic sacrifice? Or as I like to say, who's going to be the polka dot man of the group? Who's going to make it 99% of the way through the movie and then die? So maybe we should start taking bets on this. I don't know. We'll do that off air on DraftKings or something. But any other things that pop up before we wrap up here? We hit everything, huh?
Yeah, I think that's about it. I was trying to look through my notes and figure out the part that still throws me off is like the sex with the puppet part. Like that threw me off, and like
Sam is not all there.
He's not all there. And I'm like, did he enjoy it? I don't think he enjoyed it at all. Because afterwards
she asks him, how was that?
I can't do this all the time. And I'm like, is that bad or is that good? Because she had a great time, obviously.
Maybe he got scared that he would hurt her.
I thought he was going to. I was like, he's going to totally rip her in half, bro. Like if he never does it before, how does he know, like what pace is supposed to go down right now? So she did walk him through it though. So she did majority of the work. I will say that, but
I can't believe we're saying this.
I know, but he looked like confused. Like, what do I do? So I don't.
But then again, a teenager who's never had sex does not know what they're gonna do. He's like, "Is this?"
Plus, he was in labs most of his early teens.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So again, it goes back to the puppet. Like, is that his way of making people safer to attack them? Like in his brain, he sees people as puppets. Like, I want to know what that is. What's the kink there? And I'm not gonna kink shame if that's how he views things, and fine. But who's to say? But we're gonna get a lot more information on everybody's backstories. Hopefully, I'm getting used to the randomness of this show now. So, Nadia, Cam, I'll say this: when I have some free time, and I'm going to, I will watch some of The Boys now. This way, I can relatively catch up because I won't peek like a little bitch behind my eyes now. I'll just like watch it. And just expect the unexpected randomness for shit to happen. So,
I was doing that when when he was holding Kate's arm, and I was like, "Oh, that's it. She about to get shredded right now."
I took my earplugs out. I was like, I didn't want to hear this. I was like, it's gonna suck.
I'm like, she gone. And then she made it. I was like, well, okay. Well, one more episode, Kate.
I thought that one part was a little too quick, where he just automatically just stopped just because what's her face was like, it's okay. You trust me, right? No, dude, this girl's been manipulating a superhero with no mental capacities for how long now?
Right.
And just because you did the Black Widow, sun's getting low, get the fuck out of here. No, that's just because she said the safe word. Right. Stop that. But I really thought maybe 3 or 4 times Kate was gonna die. So I would have lost that bet. But this was episode 6, season 1 of Gen V. And again, they've been approved for season 2 on Prime Video. This has been fun. So let's hope it stays wild and crazy and really fucking weird. But aside from that, Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbeltmedia.com on YouTube or on here. Cam, you're at?
You can find me at Cam's Collection on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Nadia?
Gotham Geek Girl, gothamgeekgirl.com. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Trying the Clock.
Damon G Show across all social media platforms. You can see the retro cartoon rewatch where I take cartoons from the 70s to the 2000s. I watch them back in real time. I let you know whether or not they suck. And shameless plug, I just did Bayonetta, the movie, yesterday. And if you want to go over there on YouTube at Damon G Show, yeah, I'm too old to be watching anime naked girls. Like, this felt awkward to watch this entire movie. Just, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much again, Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbelt.com. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll catch you next time.
I do this.